Good evening, everyone. As Jimena said, I'm welcoming you all to be joining us this evening. I'm Chris Williams here, part of the Let's Paint team at Plaid. We're working late tonight at Plaid Crafts, and we're ready to bring you a really fun project this evening with none other than Donna Dewberry. Donna's going to be sharing with you some tips, tricks, and techniques of using the FolkArt home decor chalk paints to create a beautiful oversized floral. And then I want to invite you to hang around to the end of the class because I have the sneak peek piece that will be your preview of next Monday night's class too. So be sure and stay around to the end of the video. And without further ado, I'm going to turn this over to Donna because she's got a lot of teaching to handle this evening. If you have any questions, open up your chat, type them in your chat, and I'm here to help as a moderator to try and answer your questions or relay those comments and questions to Donna. So have fun, y'all.
Hi, guys. I am thrilled to do an oversized canvas for y'all today. It's an 18 by 18, but you might have chose a smaller one, and that's fine. What's wonderful is that if you take this look and realize that you can do larger or smaller, but doing the same oversized petals. And what I love is using this chalk paint. Now, this is home decor, the FolkArt home decor chalk. And I can tell you this one little bottle here, which is an 8-ounce bottle. We have 2 ounces in a lot of colors, but this little 8-ounce bottle literally could do an entire nightstand. And if it's open underneath and there's a shelf, it even does that. So people can't believe that they can do so much with this, but it's amazing. And the thing I love most when I'm on furniture, or if I'm on an old candlestick or a frame that's dated, and it's just like I used to get all kinds of gold frames, and then I wanted some white chalky frames, but I want it to look like all the pretty sculpture in the frame. Well, these cover, and you don't have to worry about sanding them and getting them perfect. I'm telling you, it works wonderful. So all I do is I Windex over some furniture to get off the grime and all that might be there that you don't see. And then I start painting, and it's so much fun. But I love that you can use this paint to do one-stroke painting with. And so that's the excitement of what I wanted to do tonight. It's going to be fun. It's going to be easy. And you're not going to believe that, oh my gosh, that's all it took. And putting on the treasure gold, whenever we get to the treasure gold, I like the colors, but I said, it could be silver too, by the way. But I said, what do you guys think about me adding some treasure gold? And everybody went, yes. And so I want you to see, I can't really see if you're seeing it, but I want you to see the gold and the shininess of the gold. All right. So I'm going to show you that a little bit later. But let's talk about the colors that we're using. And this is what you got printed out for you. I think you can see it right here. Maybe, can y'all see that? Okay, so it's vintage teal, sage blossom, white Adirondack, and Imperial. So on the outside edge, I'm using to do the background, the sage blossom and the white Adirondack. So I'm just going to lay this to the side and share with you that you were able to print out my pattern. And I really quick today just cut it out and taped it together so that you could see how nice it fits on here. So it's like you've got quarters of it. It shows you right here the quarters, how to lay that out. And then what I did was I put the graphite paper going down, and I'm just going to show you that I already prepped it. But I came here and make sure that this edge of the canvas, it starts up there first. And I like to go over this with a pen, and I like to use a colored pen sometimes. You can use a stylus, but then I can see that I already had traced some areas, and it makes it easy for me. So I just added an extra line I didn't need, but there you go. So really quick, save this pattern. You can use it next time you want to paint something. And actually you can do a large canvas and take that pattern and move it all around and have these big blossoms all around a larger canvas. So it makes it really fun. All right. And you can flip the design and have some coming off other areas of a larger canvas. All right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to work on the background first. All right. So I have already pulled out my chalk. Thank you. And what I just want to share with you, let me do the white really quick because I've got a lot of the sage on here. But I want you to know there's a little trick. You pull off the seal there, and then I hope you can see this right there. Then you want to roll this. You can just roll it like this, and then the paint is easy to stop the roll instead of trying to get it out any other way. That really works for you. Okay. Now I am using the only kind of brushes that we've got to use at Michael's is the CraftsMart brushes. So I got the big set with all the white handles, and this works really good for what we're doing today. Now, what I want you to see is that I'm going to not just do sage, but I'm going to do sage and white. Okay. And so I'm going to take and do a chisel. Right here's the chisel of your brush. I'm going to chisel the edges and do the outside edges also. But right now I'm going to show you that it's a really fun, actually doesn't take very long, but doing some of the last minute details really adds to it. Now, what I liked is I'm not putting heavy coats till it gets solid. What I'm going to show you is I just keep picking up both colors, and you don't need as much paint as I put there, guys. But
And Donna, while you're doing that, I have a question.
Okay.
We have one of our viewers that asked, what is the difference in chalk paint? I think she's wondering why you're using FolkArt Home Decor chalk to do your decorative painting this evening.
Okay. I like that you can get a different look and a different finish. So what's happening with chalk is it's going to be a real dry matte finish when you're done. And it just gives dimension that's different than using our normal multi-surface paint, FolkArt multi-surface that I usually use. I'm telling you, the look of it makes it just different. So I did an art show a few years before pandemic in my local town, and I was really just promoting my classes, and I used chalk paint just like this for the main part, the background, the urn, because just think if you have an urn, I mean, you can make it look like concrete because it's got this chalky feel to it. So the judges kept coming around and touching like they couldn't figure out what is that. But so it gives you a different finish that I think you're going to enjoy. And it even surprised them. And I got second place for 4D. I didn't even know the 4D fine art. So I didn't even know what that meant. But I just thought it was interesting that people can look at your art and figure out what it would be in their minds. It definitely wasn't what I really did. And they were really impressed. Okay, so I want you to see that I'm leaving colors like the white showing. I like it to look like there's movement. Do you see that? There you go. Thank you for coming on, guys. It's wonderful to have you guys out here. And all we're doing is we trace on the pattern. If you just got here, we're using FolkArt Home Decor chalk. And I love that you can buy the chalk. You can go around your house and turn so much that you would like to get rid of because it's not in style anymore, and turn it into treasures. And some of those that are wonderful, I just like to share with you. You can use glass, metal, like an old lamp. You can do those old brass lamps that turn colors. I've done everything you can imagine, covering it with chalk and putting a new lampshade, and you have a beautiful piece. So just think about that. When you are looking at some of our yummy colors, we have beautiful colors. Okay. And I'm telling you, the deal is when we're going around here, we want to get not a big heavy line on the edge, but you want to get a smoother edge like this. This one I got a little bit heavier over here, but then here I'm going smooth, and I continue to come here. Look how much, way too much paint I have on here. Okay, so you're gonna be very cautious about how much you put out. So what I would do is run around the house and figure, what can I base coat this? You know, I got so much paint here. All right. And I have even figured out how you can paint an entire kitchen cabinets with this chalk. And then we seal it with a nice sealer, and it gives you a wonderful look. All right. Okay, so you want to be careful that you don't cover a petal. I've had a couple of people go, uh-oh, I covered the petal by accident. So just make sure that you're just getting in between the petals. So make sure you keep that picture next to you, so you're seeing exactly where the green is going to go. All right. And we are loving having you guys watch us on Michael's online classes. Miss Chris has done so many beautiful things. She's got a wall of fame in her office that I love to come see her and Andy. And then we've got all kinds of other artists here at Plaid that have brought all their talents to you guys. All right. And what I do is one stroke painting. I'm the original creator of the FolkArt one stroke technique. And so I am sharing lots of fun techniques all the time. I'm going to give you all a few minutes to base coat yours. So I'm going to go ahead and do my edges while we are visiting here. All right. So I am lucky I get to come up here to Plaid and Georgia from Florida and get to be part of this education team here, which is great. Okay. And they post these lessons. So I go and find mine. You can find them on Michael's, but I find mine on YouTube at Plaid. So you can see Michael's and Plaid together is what I look for. Am I saying that right, Chris? You probably know better.
I'm sorry, Donna, I was answering a question. What was your question?
I was telling that I go and look for the reviews on these classes on the Plaid with Michael's site. Is there another place that they should go look for these?
I don't know I don't think I've ever gone to look at a review. I'm sorry, I don't know the answer to that, Donna.
No, I mean to rewatch the lesson.
Oh, you said review, and I thought you were talking about reviewing comments or something.
Yeah.
No, to be able to view the class again, you can look at the Michael's channel on YouTube or the Plaid Crafts channel on YouTube.
Yeah, there we go.
And Humana just put the link up there, so that's great.
All right. Okay, guys. So the beauty of the chalk is that it dries really fast. And so you're able to just keep on painting. And I'm gonna get all that paint out of my brush. I'm using the brush basin to rake out that color so none is left in the ferrule. And this gold part is the ferrule. So we want to make sure that we don't let it dry in there. All right. Now I'm going to come in here and let me show you this up close too. All right. So see all the gold I put in? That was an afterthought, and I think it really added to our piece. But I want you to see that I'm going to come in here with white. And as I'm coming in here with white, I picked up touches of the red, but look, it's a nice pink, and touches of the teal, which looked blue. In fact, I was thinking, I told Chris, I think that's blue. And I'm like, no, it's teal. So what's really nice about it is a deep teal. All right. It is actually called vintage teal. Yes, ma'am.
What size brush were you using? Was it the 1 inch or the 3/4?
Oh, I am so sorry, guys. It is, you know what, on white, it makes it really hard to read. It was 3/4. Okay. And I'm pretty much, guys, using 3/4 through this whole thing and through the whole art lesson. And then for the last minute detail, I am going to use like a small liner brush as we're doing that. Now I want you to see the look that we start getting. See how I want the white? I want the movement. I don't want it perfect. It looks better that it's not perfectly smooth to get the look that we want. So when you're saying, why would you use chalk paint? You can't get that look to be that look with just our regular acrylic. So it's fun. That's why it's fun. All right. So I'm going to pick up my white and I'm going to have these other two colors here. This is, I've got the vintage teal, which I'm going to use that at the end, but I'm just going to work some of this Imperial in. All right. So it's a really rich red, but it will get to a pink pretty good for me. All right. Now, what I'm going to do, I've even stenciled with the home decor chalk, so it makes it really nice. So I'm going to take my brush and load it with a lot of white. And when I say I want a little bit of red, I just want enough red that it makes it pink for me. Do you see that? Just a really light pink. Now I'm going to keep picking up. I'm going to probably use all of this white, but I want you to see that we're going to come around. I usually do the one behind first. I just want to show you that we're going to get a layer of white. And the key to this stage of the painting is we want to overlap the white over the background. Move this over here a little bit. So I'm going to turn it around so you see what I'm doing. I'm going to take the chisel of the brush, which is the brush tips, and I'm going to put lots of paint so I get a nice smooth edge. All right, so I'm going to come right here and do the same thing over here. Now I really need a really clean edge on top of the green, that green edge there. All right, so I wanted to do this back area first. All right, so lots of paint, mostly on the chisel here. Now I will continue this, guys. Can you see this? I'm continuing it right around here. So when it's hanging on the wall, if you're walking into a room, you can see the edge. If you're looking from upstairs, looking down, it's over a couch or something, you would see the top edge. Because sometimes I remember thinking nobody's going to see underneath. And I had the art show in a nursing home. And then they said, you might want to come back because they're all in wheelchairs and the bottom of the canvas shows to everybody. And I'm like, oh my goodness, I never thought about that. Okay. Now we're going to come right in here. Same thing. See, I'm on the chisel, but I'm pushing down and it puts a lot of paint. Instead of just being on the edge, I'm pushing all the way around and it gives you another wonderful area or ridge of paint right in here. And then you just flatten the brush and fill in. So can you see little bits of pink? I'm going to come back with a little bit more, but right now it's just the little bit of pink that I had in here, which was the Imperial. Okay. Now this part isn't as much fun as what it's going to start looking like as we start adding color. More paint than you can imagine. All the way around. Okay, as this is drying, there's a couple of spots I could add more, but then I'm going to put the gold on top of it. So you will be happy with it, I promise. Now, you were saying, why do we use chalk? You know, you can do the same technique with multi-surface until you get some chalk paint. but I want you to start thinking of some projects you'd like to do. And you can use your background color to be the blues or the teals or anything even besides the sage color I picked. So use your multi-surface and do the same technique, but you just won't get this look. Now you can leave it matte, or you can put a sealer on everything. You can do a spray sealer, or you can do a brush on sealer. But I just want you to know that that will take away the shine of the treasure gold a lot of times. So what I would do is, I would take and put the sealer, if you want a sealer on it, and then put treasure gold on top of that. So it stays that metallic, beautiful, rich color. All right, you see how much paint I'm putting on there? I'm scooping it up. Lots of paint. All right, now we're getting ready to have lots of fun. We've got it all base coated in almost. Be sure, if you feel like I've taken off here on you, be sure to go back and watch it as you do it, and you can freeze it, freeze the lesson, get caught up, and then start it again, okay? Okay. Now, I don't have as much pink on there as I want to have now. So I'm going to do the same thing again. I'm going to pick up white over here, a little bit of the Imperial. That's a red color. More chalk. All right. Now, while this is very wet, I'm going to show you that I chiseled a little bit this way and then a little bit down this way, and just go back and forth till you smooth it in. Okay. More white, more Imperial. Now I'm not covering the whole piece right here. I just want you to see that I'm going to scoop it in the shape of, this one's very fresh, so it's making, there we go. So make sure you go in the movement of the petal. See how it's got some swirls in here a little bit. All right, and then right here, I like a feather. I'm barely touching it. I'm not pushing hard. All right, this one got too much pink, so I could just come in here and stroke a little bit more white. See that? And it's okay if it gets a little thicker there. It makes it look just a little bit more abstract, not so perfect. All right, a little bit of pink. I'm not putting much there. And let's put a little bit, let's see, what do we have here? I put a little bit more here, but this goes right here. Do you have any questions, Chris? Or are you busy answering?
I'm answering. We just had someone asked if you were using white acrylic, and I said, no, you are using the FolkArt Home Decor chalk paints this evening.
Yes. So see how I'm leaving it kind of loose? Look at that. So you can decide how pink you want it or how pink you don't want it. Okay. But don't do the whole petal. You're just getting an illusion of a little bit of pink. And most of it is real light. I'm sorry, what?
I was just going to ask you, as you are painting the petals, does it matter the order in which you are painting the petals?
Well, now what I found out is when I was doing this, I wanted you to know which one's on top and which one's underneath. Like this is underneath, that's underneath that one. So at this point, I was just shading. Now I'm going to use some of the vintage teal to get some of that, what's in front and what's behind. Okay.
So it really does not matter which petal you paint first.
No, unless you drew it where you wanted it one way or the other. But this is just an abstract flower. It's not, kind of looks like a magnolia, but it's really loose, okay? Now, what I'm going to do is I did still get a little bit of white on my brush. This is my 3/4 inch CraftsMart brush, and I'm working in, I've got the Adirondack white, and I'm picking up vintage teal like we normally double load one stroke. Okay, now what I wanted to do is right in here, I'm going to push, oops, I do have to add a little bit of white floating medium here, or water. I have water here, I mean. Okay, so this one petal, I want to pull it down. So I'm going to push it up. All right, so can you see this right here? This one is pushing that one behind it. And then we're going to come right around here. I'm going to get some more of the teal and a little bit more. So I've got to keep getting the teal till it's got a nice amount of it on my brush. And there we go. You see? All right. Now, as I go here, I might even come back and say, hey, I want a little bit more.
When you're at a breaking point, Donna, I would love for you to pick up that vintage teal next to you there in the bottle. And let's show the bottle to everyone. No, the vintage teal. That's not
Oh, sorry.
one that was right next to you, just to show and tell the label.
Okay, so there is your label, and it is FolkArt Home Decor Chalk. And I'm telling you, this is a beauty. If you're using this for furniture, we're doing a nice canvas. But if you're using this for furniture, there's no other that does what our chalk paint does. When I put this on furniture, I can wet sponge it before it's totally dry and distress it. Or when you take a sanding block and you sand off chalk, what happens, you know, you have a good chalk paint if it comes off in powders and if it doesn't gum up your sandpaper. And this paint is wonderful. It layer by layer will come off until it's just what you want, like chalk powder. And so it's a really wonderful product that you, I mean, it's high quality. It lasts well. You just put a sealer on it or wax on it and you're set. Now this piece, you can put a varnish, or you can leave it a matte finish and the gold's going to be your accent. There's lots that you can do with it. Now I am putting a little bit, just a little bit, because I want to put this one behind it. So I can do all this teal on the one behind it and not do anything to this petal here. All right, so see how that went? And then I can smooth it out a little bit. And so what's happening there is we're doing it very light, and I am using a little bit of water because of the chalk. I usually don't use water. You guys know me if you've been one stroking with me in the past, but with this chalk, it works really well. Okay, so look, I mean, you can leave it as abstract as you want. You don't have to be as fine stroked as I'm trying to be here, but I want you to see we're on the chisel. Then I push down a little bit, stand up, and go to a point. All right, see that little teal down here? Then I can come down here and just put a little stroke. See how I just touched and laid it flat and get just a little bit of teal on that edge. Kind of makes it look like it rolls a little bit. I'm not going to even look up at my picture. You can be looking at my picture if you want, but what I want to show you is that you see how I'm coming here and I'm side loading that thick blue teal. I keep calling it blue. All right. So I'm going to come here a little bit here and then lay the brush down, get a little bit here. And let's pull this up here. All right. a little bit more water. Okay, so I am going to put a little bit of teal from in here. I can come around here, just a little teeny bit of teal there so it separates the petal. See that? And it puts this one behind. There we go. All right, so I want to show you that I got kind of light with the teal up here, heavier on the bottom, which makes sense. The underneath of the petals would be more dark than the tops. All right, and we're still going to come back with some treasure golds later. All right, now what I want to do right here in the center is I'm using the same brush and I'm going to, you can see through my chalk. I didn't try to go around that stem. I just went right over it and it shows through because I used white to lighten that green. All right, the sage color. Okay, so see the small little strokes? Look what they look like. See, chisel strokes to grab the blossom. All right. And we're going to come down. I like to run my little finger to steady me and to put a stem there. You can put your hand here and rest on top of it to help you get a nice steady. All right. Now,
I
this
just
is
asked
what
on everyone who is painting along with you, and a few folks are painting, but most everyone seems to be just watching you this evening and enjoying.
Well, thank you, but this is the deal. I love you doing that, but you got to promise me you're going to go experience the fun of chalk. All right, this is such a great Mother's Day gift. Just think about it. I'm going to come here because as this dries, you'll see a few pieces that you might want to change a little bit. But just think about what a nice Mother's Day gift this would be to a daughter-in-law, to your mama. And I have lots of women in my life now that my mama's gone that I would still love to paint a nice gift, just a girlfriend, somebody that does really wonderful things to you, for you. Wouldn't this be nice? And if you line up a few canvases as you go, they can be smaller or larger and just enjoy. And one of the favorite things I do is housewarming gifts for new young couples. And they have come to me. One couple was really cute. After I did, I only used like 3 colors and it was really pretty. And they said, we want to paint another one just like it. Can we get the paints from you? But they saw it and they said, we can do that. That made me really happy because it was a fun aspect of me giving them a gift. Okay, so now it's kind of plain Jane at this point, and I did take some teal and I was using the centers, but I thought this needs more. So don't you guys think it needs more? Well, normally, let me share with you what I would do. Normally, I would get a darker green. We have pine and other colors, and I would come right in here and shade all against the flower to darken it. But I thought on Mother's Day, moms are sweet and soft. It would be really nice to leave it somehow this lighter color. So this is what we're going to do. We're going to move these shades. See how much too much I got out? I barely touched that paint, but I want y'all to see it good. All right. So let's put some treasure gold out. So we have 2 ounces and 4 ounces in the treasure gold. And guess what? There's a multitude of beautiful colors in treasure gold. And they go outdoor, indoor. They're yummy. They cover glass, metal. I just love, love, love. I go through my treasure gold. I even pull it out, just use a little bit. I paint right out of the lid, but you're going to roll this just like you do with the chalk paint. But it's got static. Did you see that? It had a mind of its own. I needed to put more because I want these sputtery areas on the background. All right. So the first thing I did is I'm going to get a smaller brush for the first detail I'm doing. For instance, I'm going to use the angle brush that's in this kit. And I'm sorry, I cannot read these. It looks like a 3/4. I don't know. All right, so I'm gonna I wet the brush, lay it on the paper towel. And then the first thing I wanna do, this is pretty wet, so I'm not gonna go there. But I can be on the chisel, and let me show you this up close. I can come right here. Now look, I chisel, then I put pressure, and then chisel and come around. All right, now when that dries, it gives you this beautiful metallic. So I'm going to pick up some more treasure gold, and I just went around and I put little bits of gold here and there, some along the edges. I think I did do this and this right there. All right, then let's see, I did kind of come through here and put some pressure and not pressure, it depends. Like right here, lay it down. And if it thins out too much, I just go right back over and then stand back up. All right, so I'm not real thrilled with this. Y'all see this? I'm just gonna come back in here. There we go, and stand up. And see, look, if you go over it too much, look at that. It just picked it right back up. So the other little hint I would tell you is let that dry totally if you wanted to change it. I tell you not to putz around with it, but that's exactly what I just did. If you hit it the first time like that and leave it, it's going to be that great gold color there. All right, so I'm going to come right here. And I went right around here. So it's easy to come around. You don't have control if you use a liner, but this is the toe, this is the heel. And what happens is the heel makes this toe strong so that as you're coming around, you have lots of paint on here and it carries paint with you. So you have that strong edge there. All right, now I did come in here, do this again, chisel, lay, and chisel. All right. I didn't put any there yet, but let's see. I'm going to come right here. And I did come here. This was pretty wet when I did it, but look. And see what that does is it gives you the curve of the petal. And same thing here. A little bit right in here. This is pretty wet in here, so I'm going to be careful right in there. Remember, I came back and added some more white. Okay, so one thing I like to do, instead of the liner again, I like to come in here with just the toe of this angle brush. And same thing here. And if you use the liner, like I told you, because it's chalk to top it off, it will be sputtering. All right. Okay, now this is still pretty wet, so I'm going to go to some of the outside areas. I want to put all this fun in here. One thing I can do is kind of tap it while it's drying. We'll tap some gold in here. All right, I don't know if y'all can see that, but that makes a big difference. Let's look at here. All right, all of it gets really shiny and beautiful when it dries. At this point, you don't see a lot of that yet. Now, I can use scrapers. We have like a credit card or a knife, a palette knife, or these scrapers that Plaid has that make a really nice scraping motion across here. All right. So one thing I wanted to do, I'm going to show you this up close, is I can come off this edge and then let it sputter across here. See how fun that is? Now I didn't scrape it hard. I just sputtered it. I'm going to tap this edge off the edge. Can you see that? Now, everyone's going to look different. You're not going to look just like mine, but you might like yours way more than mine. Now, I'm going to come in this area You can use a paintbrush, but it looks way better if you come in here and you put just little bits. You see that? Okay. Now, have you noticed I'm tapping and picking up with a palette knife? All right. So I just did a little bit in here. Okay. I did sputter a little bit along here. Ooh, that looked pretty. You see that? So, and guess what? You don't get the same feel if you do this on regular acrylic. It's the chalk that gives you this cool look. All right. And also, I do a lot of backgrounds where I just use this chalk and scraping on backgrounds. And then we use our FolkArt multi-surface and just paint our flowers. So doing backgrounds makes yours different than everybody else's. All right. Now, don't get carried away. I got kind of heavy at the top. Thank you, Karen. She said she can't wait till she gets the paint. All right. So look, touch. Now I'm going to scrape up. I'm telling you, when I did this, all of the younger people that work here, they walked by and went, and it stopped them in their tracks and they went, oh my gosh. So that made me really happy. All right, because they're always impressing us. There we go. And remember what I said, just let it sputter. Okay, so in here, I stroked. And I think it needs to be a different feel than what the background is. All right, so it looks like it's in your face right there in the picture. But when it's dry, it's kind of mellow. And yes, it's there. But when it's hanging up, it depends on how the light's hitting it. So now we're going to do all these little stamens in here. You'll see those. All right. Now, and that's our finishing touch. And this right here, guys, has been 45 minutes. So how cool is that? You can do, just line up a few canvases. And what I love to do is do two smaller ones that are half this size. So what is that, 18? It'd be 9 or 10 by 10s or whatever, or 8 by 8s will look good. 2 8 by 8s, and take some of this color and take it right onto those two and have a threesome to hang on the wall, or make 2 of these and have them different types of petals. I've done that a lot too. And then you take our paint, our fabric paint. I just did this a couple of years ago, and everybody painted a picture like this. And then they did IKEA pillows, and they painted on these pillows. And even Michael's has pillows also, and totes and aprons. And anyway, they painted the pillows to match this design with our fabric paint. Okay, so I want you to see, I usually touch and pull, but what's kind of good for this is that you can pull, and you're going to need a little bit of water to get that treasure gold to move. All right, medium doesn't get an inky thin line for you, but water
What are you
does.
talking about, Donna, when you say medium?
When I'm using floating medium, you can't make something inky with floating medium. You can make it transparent like watercolor with the FolkArt floating medium. But when I'm using a metallic, you can't use the floating medium to thin it out for this look. You need to use water, see? And you get a nice puddle of this paint. And this is the thinnest script liner that's inside this kit. I usually use a 2 script liner for this part. Now, what I'm doing is just doing those stamens. Now I could touch and pull, but what I'm going to end up needing to do here, guys, is this. Can you see this is where I touched and pulled down? Look, touch and pull, touch and pull. So you can get a thicker amount here on the tips. All right. But what I ended up doing is pulling it out. And then if you could take thick paint, not inky anymore, and you can come back and take thick treasure gold and make different layers. I don't know if you can see it there. Can they see that, Chris?
Uh-huh.
All right, so you're just going to come in here, and we want it heavier on the tips. That's that pollen there on the end of the stamens. And you're just going to, even if there's not a stamen there, you just put little dots of this, which gives you a big, beautiful look there. Now, what I don't like in this at this point is I'm going to get my 12 and see that that gold just covered up my vintage teal pretty much. So what I want to do is I want to take a vintage teal and take a little bit of it back into the center pod so that we have some darkness in here. And I even took and tapped a little bit of the vintage teal in here. And sometimes I add this, guys, and then I come back and add more gold back on it. All right. So a very quick, fun project, and you can feel success even if yours is all pink or all teal or all gold. It's yours. It's abstract. It's fun. So have fun creating. Do we have any questions they want to know from us, Miss Chris? Or you've been taking care of it?
I've answered all the questions.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it, Chris. It's nice for you guys to hear what's going to make this easy for you to achieve it at home. And just remember that what's really wonderful is that Plaid makes high quality, good product. And I just put my multi-surface paints right in front of me, and I don't change it because it paints on so much. But then we have so many specialties. We have color shifts, and we have dragonfly sealers. We have chalk paint. We have many wonderful products that will make your crafting even better than it is now. So take your talents and embellish them, because we're having a good time doing that. And I know you will too. Thanks for signing up for my class. And please go watch it again and paint your projects with me. All right. One stroke painting, FolkArt one stroke painting. You can't lose with it. You got to practice, have fun, and thank you very much.
Well, good evening, everyone. I hope you enjoyed this time spent with Donna Dewberry, the original creator of the FolkArt one-stroke method of painting. And although Donna painted with a different type of paint this evening, I hope you do reach out and try the FolkArt Home Decor Chalk. It really is a great DIY paint, mostly used for furnitures and refurbishing and giving new life to some old piece of furniture. But tonight, Donna shared with you how to use it as a decorative painting medium. So give that a whirl, have a try at it, and be sure and share your work once you paint along. I know most of you said you were just enjoying watching this evening, but if you do paint, take a picture, post it in our Let's Paint with Plaid Facebook group. If you're not yet a member, I welcome you to join us. I'm one of the administrators there. We have free lessons in our group all the time, but do post your work and use the hashtag Let's Paint Challenge or Michael's classes there. We would love to see your work and your creation or your spin-off of what Donna shared with you this evening. And now it's my duty, or I should say my privilege, to share with you what next Monday night class is going to be here in the Michael's Community Classroom. We have Kirsten Jones back with us next Monday. She's part of our Plaid content team here, and she is going to be teaching this painting. It's called FolkArt Pen and Ink Bouquet. And it's on a canvas, and I'm going to zoom in a little bit close so you can see she's got a pen and ink and a watercolor effect. And it's really going to be fun to paint along with Kirsten to create the FolkArt Pen and Ink Bouquet. So that will be Monday the 11th. I hope you all will sign up and join us then, or I should say join Kirsten then next Monday night. So until then, thank you all for tuning in this evening, and we welcome you a great time painting tonight's project. Bye.
Bye.